Shauna, going up there, coming off of a win, like what kind of momentum do you have going into this tournament?
Yeah, obviously after a good win the other day, I think it gives us a good positive mindset going into Maryland, and obviously you want to be feeling good and feeling confident going into the Big Ten tournament. So it was a big win for us for many reasons. We played pretty well. So yeah, I think it's great, just great momentum going in. Now we got to obviously regroup and refocus in on a tough Maryland team, but definitely better going in with a W than a loss.
When you look maybe at the two matchups, kind of two different ones. One was a offensive kind of game, one was a defensive kind of. What do you kind of see from those two games and anticipate maybe in the third one?
Yeah, rewatching them both and going back and really breaking them down. Obviously they play that 3-2 zone that's and they're really long, so they did a good job of trying to keep us out of the paint in that second contest. And I thought after rewatching it though, that was a game we got a lot of really good shots. We couldn't make anything, and that was when, if you remember, we missed a ton of layups. KB didn't practice 2 days going into that because she was sick. So we had some really good looks, and that game was very winnable until the end of the fourth. So we got to be ready for their zone. We got to be ready for their pressure. And their length is a concern just across the board. But a lot of good things too. And we played them really well out there, where we didn't have a hard time scoring, but we couldn't stop them, and they really hurt us in the paint. So we got to be able to take care of the paint. Number one against them and keep them in front and force them more into a perimeter game.
You have a shot to play yourselves into a postseason tournament. Are you talking about that?
No, it's one day at a time. It always has been, and for us, that's our focus. Our focus is Maryland right now. How can we prepare and go there and starts with today. Go 1-0 today and have the best practice we can have. Tomorrow we go and we prepare, and then obviously Thursday we got to go and play really well against them in order to have a shot at Ohio State, and so it's one day at a time mindset.
Anything now that you've been through one cycle of a Big Ten tournament that's informing you this year?
It's the same as really any conference tournament. You can't get to the next day if you don't win that. It's literally a survive and advance mindset, and whatever, it doesn't matter how the game is. It's just, do you win by a point? It doesn't matter how pretty it is, and you got to defend, but more importantly, you got to be able to hit some shots, and that's the number one thing I think as you go into postseason. You got to be able to put the ball in the basket, and so hopefully it's different though. It's not like we don't have a shoot around, we don't have anything at the arena until you get there. So everyone's even though. It's an even playing field, neutral site. So we're excited about it.
I feel like if it was one thing, you would have fixed it. But have you your staff tried to figure out why the shooting percentages are a little bit down this year for everybody compared to last year?
Yeah, we've looked at everything from analytics, every different way possible, and even watching some games of ours, and then you go and you watch some of these other ones, and it's like, well, why didn't we make those layups in this game, and why did we make? I don't know. I don't know. We got to continue to evaluate and look at it even in the postseason or in the off season, and see what we can do better, and a solution in terms of how we can get better at that in this summer and going into next season. But it's just the inconsistency has been there in terms of shooting from three and even shooting around the rim. So we got to get better at that.
So it would seem to me like Shea had a good statistical game, but it would seem like that's been building just in kind of watching her off the bench. Like, is that fair? And what's been leading to that kind of gradual build up?
Yeah, no, I think everyone that's watched us has kind of seen it coming, and really good minutes, and just the process building. I mean, I think her trajectory is just going up and up, and I cannot be more happy with her. But it's really it's her mindset every day. It's how she practices. It's how she comes in and does extra work. It's her work ethic and her just relentless approach to trying to get better. Never complaining or blaming. It's always about what can I do in order to get what I want, and she's a great teammate. She's the first one on the bench cheering, and even if she's not in the game. So those are the people that are going to be successful, right? And whether it's basketball, whether it's in anything that you do in life, because of her positivity, her work ethic, her approach, her mindset. And I'm super excited about where her career is going and what she can be for us this year and then in years to come.
What were you going off of when you brought her in here? Because it seemed like at Duke even her injury was limiting her to the point where you might not have had that much to go off of, even if you go back to her junior and senior year in high school.
You didn't. That was some of the hard, those are some of those things where you look at it, she didn't play really at Duke and had some injuries in high school. So you go back to, the player she was pre-injury and we all had seen her in high school, and, you watch film on that. And then you see her size and her ability to shoot the ball is something that you can't teach that. And then as you get to know her personality and her approach to stuff and the type of person she is and her character, they fit. And that's it's a really, really important piece as you're trying to build a program. If you don't get the right kids that fit your culture and fit the work ethic and some of these core values that I want Illinois basketball to be about, it's not going to get there. So she fit kind of all those things. And then with that, you go, and that's where, though, it might not come right away. It's a process. It takes time. And I think we're seeing some of, the process paying off.
What was important?
Gretchen and Shay as well, just going into the Big Ten tournament, the bench production. How much of a key is that going to be to any kind of deep run you're going to make in Minneapolis?
It's absolutely critical. You can't win with 5 players, even 6 players. You got to have some production off the bench. And I think that, with Shay's minutes and what she's done, and then with Gretchen, what she's done really for the past, few weeks, and since Jada's gone out, just really, really happy with both of them. And they got to continue to, to come out and be aggressive and have a scoring threat. Like Shay had the other night, and we need Gretchen to have that same mindset. If you're open, I want him to shoot it and to be really, really aggressive offensively, because they're both very capable of putting points on the board.
Just one more about Shay. When you have someone who physically you've got to help kind of get back to where she was, and I'm assuming there might be a confidence element in that as well. Like, what's important for you guys as coaches to find the right pace in which to help get her back up to that speed?
Yeah, as kids and even us, you want it to happen right away. You want her to just come in and she wants it, we want it, but that's really not realistic, especially when you haven't played in some time. So, and I think just in terms of also being a transfer, you're almost like a freshman, and this is a whole new system with all new people and just getting the feel of everything. So, throughout that process, I'm telling her to trust the process and continue to work, and you're doing the right stuff, you're putting the work in, and eventually it'll pay off. But, sometimes it's hard for them to hear that, because you want to play and you want this and you want that. But I think once she kind of understood that she can only control what she can control, she just dove into that and was relentless in that. And I think now she's just more relaxed and not overthinking everything. And just playing, and that's what I keep telling her to do. Just go play. I think you guys have even, heard me. She checks into a game sometimes. I'm like, just go play really, really hard. And I don't want her really overthinking. I don't want a lot of those guys, especially coming off the bench, overthinking stuff. Just go play and play free.
Sold out event. I think we know a primary reason why, but are you expecting a different experience for your players this year, even compared to last year?
Yeah, I hope that, it's full for every game and not just, Iowa or some of the top seeds. Every place we've really played this year, on the road, at State Farm Center, it's been a really good environment. So I would not expect anything different. And even last year, it was a pretty good environment in our Big Ten games up there. So hopefully it's full, it's loud, and it's just a great experience and a great atmosphere for women's basketball this week.
Was it maybe mean to have Makaira and Kendall both get the second team honors and then obviously Jen get the honorable mention?
I think it's really important, even with, some of their numbers not being as what they were last year. And it proves and shows that everyone knows, what they're capable of doing and what type of players they are. So I think it speaks to, our program and what we're trying to build here to, have elite players and some of the best players in the conference on our team. And then also, with Gretchen being all freshman team, I think that's a really big honor for her. And I don't think the last time Illinois had all freshman selection has been 2017. So I think it just shows that everything's trending, in the right way, even though, some people may think we took a step back this year because of last year. I look at it, we're still building, and we're still building to sustain and be a top, program in the country and obviously in the Big Ten. And some of that is a process. And, so if we can get a postseason berth and whatever that is, I don't know the last time that's been done at Illinois. So yeah, we won NCAA tournaments, but we also have to understand there is a process here, and we've learned a lot this year, and and let's see what we can do with that.
How much do you draw on the success you've had at Dayton in an A-10 tournament scenario where 10, 12 hours after you play again, you got to get them re-going again? Is that 3-4 days straight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were in that a lot, and most times we were playing the last day in the championship game. So, you know, it's just that's why I say it's a mindset you can't get ahead of yourself. You know, at Dayton we were a lot of times the number 1 seed or number 2, and you're expected to make the championship game, but you can't get the championship game unless you get 1 and 2. And we always had close games in that first round. That first round, especially when you're the higher seed. It's tough because there's a lot of pressure on them to get there. So I think as someone maybe being the underdog, you have a little bit less pressure than some of the top guys. So those are a lot of lessons I learned throughout that will carry over into tournament play this year and for years to come.